When the pain of staying the same is greater than the pain of change, we will change. I remember hearing that quote for the first time about a year ago, and it completely rocked me because it's something that deeply resonated with my entire story and my entire journey. And now coming into this eclipse season, I think a lot of us are witnessing both a shift externally and internally. I don't know one person that's not going through it right now, and it could literally be a breakup, anything from a few months to over a decade of their lives spent with another person, living with them, entwined. So many different career changes for people, different bands breaking up, and externally, obviously, there is a lot of crazy stuff coming out with P. Diddy, potentially Jay-Z, obviously all the stuff with Nickelodeon, which we knew was really creepy. And I'm 33, so I grew up with everything 90s Nickelodeon, even somewhat early 2000s. So, watching Quiet on Set, not only did it confirm some stuff for me, but it kind of was really shocking to get like deeper into the details. And, I think with the advent of the whole Epstein situation coming out, it made a lot of us more open to questioning what exactly is going on behind the scenes of all these different industries. Because I think he was close friends with the owner of, Victoria's Secret? So that's clothing. And then he was like a financier, so he worked with a lot of rich people. It's just really weird stuff. I also grew up with wrestling too, and all the stuff with like Vince McMahon potentially like doing like sex trafficking. Wild. So yeah, and then obviously if you're in New Jersey or New York like me, you felt the earthquake that happened. Apparently it was a 4.8, and this eclipse is happening on April 8th. So I find that parallel very interesting, just because the amount of coincidences I've experienced throughout my life have made it harder and harder to believe that you could chalk everything up to just pure coincidence. And I was recently watching a video about how like traditional Navajo always viewed the eclipse as the death of the sun. As dramatic as that sounds, it's true. Like you have this moon blocking the light of the sun, and the light is gone. And all warmth, all light, and therefore a key ingredient for life, especially plant life, is gone. And one of the major things that this Navajo was talking about was, much like all the animals do during an eclipse, in Navajo tradition, you actually are supposed to take a moment of silence. And I found that very interesting because I never viewed eclipses that way. But it does totally make sense because it's almost like you're mourning. And if you're at like a wake or a funeral, then it totally makes sense to, have that moment of silence. So I guess I'd like to crescendo all of this into what I like to refer to as the subtle art of dying. If Aries is the first zodiac sign in the zodiac, and therefore this new moon being in Aries is sort of like an astrological reset back to square one. And Aries is very like me-centric, me-focused, the great entertainer, the life of the party. So for this video, it makes sense for me to kind of bring it back to my story and talk about all the different ways I've learned to, I guess, die with grace in a way. For some of you who know me, it was a little shocking to see me without my facial hair. And I'll describe that event particularly because I wanted to honor my youth. March 23rd, I was performing at a music hall for the release of my new record with my band, a bunch of other really talented bands, but more specifically, one of our openers was my old pop punk band from like 15 years ago. And to really honor that part of me, not only did I do a new song with one of my old bandmates that I had a very intense falling out with back in the day, to kind of like really bring it all, you know, back home, like to give it this like really nice full circle feeling. I decided to get some friends together because the original lineup, it's been so long that getting the original lineup together was impossible. I got some friends together to almost kind of reenact some of those older songs. The drummer who was playing those songs with us is actually my other old band, the Foxfire's old drummer. So there was a bit of a like this not just this funeral for my pop punk band, my high school self, my friendship with my old friend Brady, and just like this old version of me. And it totally makes sense for me to shave for it. It's something I haven't done in 10 years. But also, with this connection to my other band, the Foxfires, I was in this band for 8 years. And I hadn't been on stage with this person in 5. So there was a lot of, like, it was almost like a funeral for all these different old versions of me, not just the punk rock version of me, not just my specific relationship to my old bandmate, but this other chapter that followed it as well. So much so that once my current project, Morning Coffee, went on, we ended our set with a cover of a Foxfire song. And that was incredible because I never thought that that song would be played again live. And even though I didn't have all the old bandmates, just to be able to do that on stage with some of mine and with Brandon behind the drum set was absolutely like just honoring our legacy. And I think that that's the more healthy way of dying, is not just like feeling the loss and mourning these people or these places or things that are no longer with us, but having some level of honor for the things that are no longer here. And so that was my ritual. My ritual was performing with old bandmates of mine, doing old songs of mine. On the birthday of my new record, it was also a proper funeral for older versions of myself. And it was one of the most incredible and memorable shows of my life, and I'll remember it forever. Leading up to it, though, I was terrified about shaving. I had nightmares where I would wake up already clean shaven, And I would be bugging out like, oh my God, you know, like what it's gone, you know, like I didn't, you know, like this like feeling of losing control. And what's funny is in my waking life, because of my shadow work and all of my practices, I came to a point where consciously I was excited by this feeling. Like, oh, subconsciously I'm afraid to let go of my facial hair just to honor my youth this one time. Well, now that's something I definitely gotta do, because as much as I like having facial hair, and for as long as I've had it, to be able to not be so attached to it and let go of it is incredibly powerful and humbling. And it's yet another form of death. So circling back to this new moon eclipse, I think I'm going to be spending it with my mom, who passed away in 2006. I'm gonna go visit her site. I have an alchemical candle that I light every night for my prayer meditations. I'm gonna bring that for the specific ritual I'll be doing for this eclipse. It will be entirely in silence, so like no music playing, no chanting, just like some incense, some obsidian crystals and candles, and just like really grounding the space, like doing a little bit of like a white sage cleanse before, and just really being present with that energy and with her. And my grandmother too, who's right next to her, I lost in 2018. Both of these women have been my spiritual guides ever since they passed away, and have formed a very strong circle of protection around me. The deeper I get into whatever shenanigans I'm up to. So I guess the whole point to be talking about these things is to find your own ritual, find your own way to honor this eclipse, to honor old versions of you that are gone, people, places, and things that are no longer here. We're allowed to mourn these things. We're allowed to feel the loss of these things, because opening ourselves up to those feelings and letting those feelings wash through us, we are then cleansed by the release of this energy and are open now to so much more. And typically for me, it leaves me feeling lighter. I was always one who was afraid of feeling so deeply, especially being a Pisces moon and a Capricorn sun. They're almost polar opposites. One's all about, you know, having everything together, structured, organized, orderly, clean. And then the other one is like this emotional chaos. It's this, it's coloring, not coloring the lines. It's watercolor, essentially. It's just like this beautiful mess. And with it being my moon, it certainly feels that way. But it's weird opening myself up to those emotions and allowing myself to fully process trauma. I've been fully released from a lot of it. And it's true that we carry everything that we've been through, but this really does lighten the load. And like I was telling a friend the other day, because I put out a video about being assaulted, and I was telling a friend the other day that making that video and being open about such a traumatic event with so many people, not only has that lightened and loosened the grip of that event on me, it's also given me this opportunity to have discussions like that with other people who have been through similar things and have given them the strength to come forward, not just to me, but just to like talk about it in therapy or talk about it with whomever. And I think that's incredibly powerful. If that's something that I can do by just sharing what I've been through with people, then I absolutely think, you know, these videos that I make are worth it. And yeah, I hope you fully take advantage of this eclipse. The energy has been rocking all of us, and let's put that energy to some good use and mourn with grace. Have a good day.